Recent reports from Brian Windhorst say that the Celtics are most likely going to offer Jayson Tatum a max contract this offseason. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Jimmy Toscano, Mike Petralia, and Keith Smith. Guys, thanks for joining me again. We've talked now a lot about Tatum earning a max contract, so this isn't a huge surprise, but what are you hoping to see out of this contract if and when it goes down?
Keith, you go first.
Sure, yeah. He's going to get a max offer from the Celtics. I am fairly certain of that, and that's, the reporting. I don't know that comes as a surprise maybe to anybody, especially those of us who cover the team. I think he's clearly earned that. Just about any player who's made an all-star team by their third season on a rookie scale deal is going to get a max contract offer. That's just generally how it works. That's going to be where it comes from. Now, for Tatum, what that contract is going to look like, I think that's going to be somewhere in the range from Boston. They're going to either offer him a 4-year deal for $140 million or a 5-year deal for a little over $181 million. That's a first-year salary of $31 million. So that's and then 8% raises off of that, and that's assuming the cap comes in at the projections. So we'll see what that looks like, but that's that's what's going to get offered to him, and then it's really up to Tatum from there if he takes it or not.
And let me get in here quick, guys, because I know you have an opinion on this. Now that we know the numbers from Keith, how do you guys feel about that? Do you think Tatum's earned that at this point?
Well, I think it's a 50-50 proposition, right? I mean, his first couple of years in the NBA, given where he was at Duke, where they projected him, picking him third overall in the draft, he certainly has shown the potential of being a superstar type of player in this league. So what you're doing is you say, well, we love what you've shown in the first couple of years. You made the all-star team, as Keith said, by your third year. But when you offer a player like this a max deal at that age, you're really paying him for what you think he can become. And he is a very good player right now among great players in the NBA. What you're paying him to become is in that conversation of top 10, top 12 players in the NBA, hands down. And I think certainly Jayson Tatum has the potential. He has shown us all, coaches, fans, media, that he has the potential of becoming exactly that.
Yeah, I think the word is obviously potential, but there's 29 other teams that would be happy, I imagine, to pay him what that max money might be. So right there is a pretty easy answer for the Celtics. I think, we can't have it both ways. We can't say, oh, if you're the Celtics, would you trade him for Anthony Davis? And then when it's time to pay him, we say, whoa, wait a second. We don't know if he's a max player. I think the consensus is this guy is going to be a top talent in the NBA. I'm wondering, how does the salary cap, if it does change, how does that affect the decision making on either side? Because if it does drop, now the max contract drops. So maybe Jayson Tatum's thinking, wait a second, am I going to jump and take this max deal for the max amount of years? And all of a sudden it jumps back up the next year and I'm this huge steal. How does that play out? Do we have a Scottie Pippen situation on our hands here? So I'm wondering how that's my concern. The fact that he's a max player isn't so much news to me. What will be news is what either side is thinking in terms of years. And maybe Keith has a opinion on that. But one of the things I was also looking at is Kawhi Leonard. I mean, I know he took a 3-year deal with the player option, trying to line up possibly with his teammates, but also I know he hits that 10-year plateau, or that 10-year mark, I should say, where it escalates his percentage of the cap. So is that something that Jayson Tatum thinks about, going into his 7th year?
Yeah, I think there's certainly the possibility that could happen. Now, history tells us when a player is offered a max deal coming off the rookie scale, they take it. They're not going to pass that up. They're going to take the most guaranteed money that is offered to them at that time. But this is also a very unprecedented time. We've been for a number of years assuming the salary cap will continue to grow, which continues to grow salaries for all and those types of things. So a lot will depend on where things shake out for the next couple of years. It is important to note that this would not kick in until the 21-22 season. So there is a little bit more time for that to be understood. How it works is you sign a contract for the maximum, and then the maximum is determined when. the salary cap is set. The other possibility for Jayson Tatum that exists is he could qualify for the designated rookie extension, which could allow him to jump to the next salary tier. And that is if he makes the All NBA team this year and next, and those types of things. There's different qualifiers in there. So if he does that, that probably changes the math considerably because he's going to be making significantly more money than he would be able to otherwise. Now, we have not really seen players, unless they're unhappy, turn down the designated player extension. That's generally been on the veteran side, though, not off the rookie. So we'll see where that lands ultimately. I expect Jayson Tatum to take whatever the max offer is from the Celtics, because otherwise all he's going to do is get to restricted free agency, and Boston will match any contract he signs with anybody at this point.
Absolutely. And quickly, what does it mean for the rest of the team if and when he signs a max contract in terms of the salary cap issue? What kind of other moves would have to be made with his surrounding pieces?
Yeah, that's going to be where it gets really interesting to see what happens with Gordon Hayward either this summer or next summer. I've kind of flipped where I now believe Hayward's more likely to opt in this year and take that 30 plus $1 million versus opting out and doing something longer term. That still clearly exists as an opportunity, but I think Hayward has played well enough that he will, whatever offer he could get this summer will likely be there next summer, unless he has a really poor season next year. So it's really going to depend, because you've got Jaylen Brown, who is already on a near max contract, Kemba Walker, who's on a max contract, Tatum, who will likely be on a max contract, and then you've got Hayward there. Now, Hayward's next deal is not going to be a max deal. We know that. He's not at that point as a player anymore. But this is a team that is getting increasingly expensive, and really the only upper bounds, because they're all their own free agents, is going to be how much leeway ownership gives Danny Ainge to go deep into the luxury tax.
What I think is interesting, and Keith brings it up, is the Gordon Hayward factor. I mean, do they try to make a move with his contract and trade it for some expiring deal? And can you even do that given the pause right now? And, there's a lot to be considered in all of this. But Gordon Hayward, to me, is really the linchpin of it all, because, financially going forward in years to come, how the Celtics contract their payroll, really structures out. I'm curious to see how Danny Ainge has always usually, I think, done a very good job, along with Mike Zarin, of really managing this type of situation, the transition from one big contract of a veteran player and kind of, trying to transition it to a younger portion of the roster that they feel needs developing. So it'll be fascinating to see how that, turns out.
Absolutely. And for all the rest of our Celtics coverage, you can find it on our website at clnsmedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Celtics All Access.